The Kenyan government has been the subject of social media activism over the country's ballooning public debt, as at this evening, over 185,000 citizens had signed in support of a petition urging the International Monetary Fund (IMF) to cancel a 255.9 billion shillings credit facility it advanced to Kenya last week. The first tranche of 33.7 billion shillings has already been disbursed to the National Treasury, with some more funds expected by the end of June, totaling to 79 billion shillings as the initial disbursement. The balance of 176.9 billion shillings is to be disbursed after reviews that will be conducted by IMF every 6 months. But would such a petition influence IMF's decision?
What would happen is that it may not stop them giving the resources. What they would do is maybe in future or medium term is to increase or look at the conditions tying those loans.
I would not support a situation where the IMF walks out on Kenya. It will be very painful, it will be difficult.
While the credit facility by IMF is meant to help the Kenyan government scale up its COVID-19 response, reduce debt vulnerabilities, effect structural and governance reforms, as well as strengthening the country's monetary policy framework, Kenyans on Twitter, through a trending hashtag, Stop Giving Kenya Loans, were questioning the use of past borrowed resources. But on the other hand, pro-government Twitter users were justifying the public debt through a hashtag Impact of the Loans, affirming President Uhuru Kenyatta's sentiments in December 2018.
It's not about incurring debt, it's about how you use that debt. Are you using that debt to expand your economy? Are you using that debt to expand your GDP? Are you using that debt to open up your country, right?
As at November last year, the national debt had shot to 7.25 trillion shillings, a bulk of the resources borrowed from external lenders, and 3.48 trillion shillings procured locally. As at March 2013, the public debt stood at 1.79 trillion shillings, with former President Mwai Kibaki's administration at that time servicing a 981.9 billion shillings domestic debt and 812.7 billion shillings in external debt. Though accused of having an insatiable appetite for loans, President Kenyatta in December 2018 defended the borrowing.
I have almost 60% of the Republic of Kenya connected to power. My friend, for those kind of reasons, I will borrow.
Okay.
Good friend.
Recently.
I will. And I will continue to borrow. Yeah?
Use it to consume.
Not to consume. To develop.
The Division of Revenue Bill 2021 proposes that out of the 1.7 trillion shillings projected revenue, 1.17 trillion shillings be used on public debt financing, with county governments allocated a shareable revenue of 370 billion shillings. It means the national government will be forced to borrow more to finance its day-to-day operations as well as for development expenditure.
Government all over the world, they borrow. But the question is that what are you borrowing for? If you're borrowing to take care of current or recurrent expenditure, meaning maybe salaries, there's a problem. Once you borrow to pay the recurrent expenditure, you won't see the money because the next month, next year, you still have the same problem.
Statistics from June 2013 to November 2020 indicate a growing rise in public debt, and the burden is likely to increase as the government borrows more to plug the deficit in the 2021-2022 budget. A 9 trillion shillings debt ceiling approved by Parliament almost shattered amid talk of a review to procure more loans, expensive commercial loans, and corruption in cost of mega infrastructure projects, cited by critics as the primary challenges.
And that is why I keep on coming to this thing, rescheduling, restructuring, some areas renegotiating, having some of these payments maybe be suspended to allow the government to stabilize so that more resources can be released into the economy rather than paying external debt or paying public debt, so that they can be released to the private sector to generate business.
While the National Treasury remains silent on the petition to IMF, CS Okuri Atani has previously stated that the country's economic status was healthy. For now, the public debt is rising, with even tougher economic times aggravated by adverse effects of COVID-19 pandemic. Francis Gachie, Citizen TV.